friends or family support you when you go no contact with the narcissist? This question comes from Ashley, who submitted her question through my Ask Adriana on YouTube right here. So if you want to participate and you have a question for me that you'd like me to make a video just like this for, check out the link in the description to submit your Ask Adriana question, and stay tuned. Follow this playlist that the video is on and you'll be able to watch the response whenever it gets uploaded. Welcome or welcome back to the channel. I'm Coach Adriana and I empower survivors of narcissistic abuse to heal, set boundaries, and live life on their own terms. I'm a fellow survivor myself, and my own healing journey is what inspired me to help other people heal as well. If you want to learn more about how to work with me and other resources, feel free to check out the link in the description. Without further ado, let's dive into this question. Ashley asked, how can friends or family support you when you're going no contact with a narcissist instead of thinking in time things will pass? So this is a classic situation where, you discover that you've been dealing with a narcissist, you decide to leave, and then other people are not really being supportive. And they're saying that, oh, things are going to pass in time, like you're going to get over it, you need to move on, or you need to stay with this person and work things out, or whatever. Unfortunately, the reality is that not a lot of people really understand narcissistic abuse and how narcissists operate. Other people do not get the same experience with the narcissist in your life that you got. The thing you have to really understand about narcissists is they're not abusing every single person that they come across. If they did, their cover would be blown fairly quickly because everybody would know what this person's all about. But narcissists make sure to treat the majority of people fairly well, like gold even sometimes. And they only have one or two main targets who are the people closest to them. And behind closed doors, they're a completely different person with the targets versus when they're out and about with all the other people that they want to have them believe that they're a decent person, right? So I think I worded that weirdly, but you get what I mean. Narcissists put on like a performance, an act that would confuse the majority of people. If you were to ever tell somebody that, oh, this person treats me like crap, they probably wouldn't believe you because the narcissist is probably not treating them the same way they're treating you. So that's the first thing we really need to understand. The second thing we need to understand is that not everybody's going to be supportive. And after I kind of dive into all of this, if you are somebody who has not dealt with a narcissist, but you have someone in your life that you're close to and you want to support them as they go no contact and go through the healing process, we'll touch on that as well. But before we get into that, let's just talk about unsupportive people, because sadly, that's going to be the majority of people that you're going to come across. The world is not ready to hear about narcissists, I don't think. A lot of people are in denial about their own narcissistic abuse. I remember a time when I was in denial about my mother being a narcissist. I found out, and I'm probably going to make a video soon about how I found out my mother was a narc, but I found out and then I kind of went into denial for a year and a half until I was confronted with more truth. So you have to understand that most people are they're not going to, a survivor themselves is probably initially going to be in some level of denial. And then for people who have not been abused by that particular narcissist, they're not going to see it. They're not going to understand it unless they actually know about narcissistic abuse, which again, most people don't. And it is what it is. I don't make the curriculum for the world. So, I can just hope that people find my videos and figure it out themselves, like how pretty much all survivors have had to do. And so there is also like an element of toxic positivity to this whole thing as well, because we live in a very toxic positivity kind of society where like everyone's like, oh, things are going to get better with time and the world's a beautiful place and don't worry about it, move on, da 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 da. And then what they don't get is that trauma is a thing and narcissistic abuse is traumatic. And so the world is not necessarily like trauma informed. So you have to manage your expectations of other people. And you have to also take what they're saying at face value. Like if someone who says they care about you is encouraging you to dive nose first into an abusive situation all over again, just because things are going to get better with time, you have to wonder about that person and why that is their initial thing that they're going to say to you instead of, oh, that's horrifying, how can I help you? You know what I mean? Like put yourself in the shoes of somebody who's learning about someone going through narcissistic abuse. And would that be something that you would say to that person? Probably not, right? Like you'd probably be like, oh, I've been through this too. Let me show you all the things that helped me. And if you genuinely hadn't been through narcissistic abuse, you would probably be like, oh crap, that's horrible. Do you want to talk about it? I'm here for you, whatever. instead of offering these just like platitudes, like just this, it's just empty words, like things are going to be okay, whatever. That's not like necessarily what you need to hear in that moment. You need to hear like, that sucks. You're brave for getting out. I support you. And, you're protecting yourself. And that's the best thing. And that's, kind of where coaching comes into play. I actually have a really great community membership. I'm just going to throw this out there real quick. It's less than $1 per day to get started. You can cancel anytime, no questions asked. And it's an amazing supportive community of fellow survivors who have been through it. So a lot of the times it's, the support within my community or my group coaching program and stuff like that is so much more valuable to my clients that I've worked with than people that they know, because the people that they know, they don't know about healing from narcissistic abuse. So you have to truly manage your expectations. And there's two kind of ways to look at this. Like in the worst case scenario, this person who's not really being supportive might be an enabler themselves. And in my opinion, I believe that enablers are narcissistic too, because if someone's okay with these dynamics and they are, encouraging, like I said earlier, encouraging you to dive nose first into an abusive dynamic all over again, just because, you have to wonder, how are they treating the people closest to them, right? You're just not the main target. And you're not going to necessarily know if someone's a full-blown narcissist unless you are directly being targeted by them. But when you're dealing with an enabler, or, that people will give clues that they're narcissistic before it turns into a very close relationship. So if it's an acquaintance or a friend or somebody who's not targeting you, but they're a narcissist and they're enabling the abuse, right? Like that, it's going to make more sense. But then there's people who just genuinely don't know. And they're kind of bought into, like, I guess, the societal brainwashing that, things are going to pass in time. Everything's okay. Just smile, pretend you're good. Obviously for getting through day-to-day life, like we have to put on that happy face and just not talk about things, like you can't talk about your issues at work and stuff like that. And so there is that element where, yeah, you do have to kind of guard yourself, but you also have to be able to discern like who exactly is your support system. And you can't force somebody to be supportive with you. The thing is, you can't insist on guaranteeing that like this specific family member or friend is going to help support you when you go no contact with the narcissist in your life. Like you can't have that expectation. That's kind of like a lot to put onto somebody. It doesn't seem like a lot because that's probably what you would do for that person if the roles were reversed. But if this person has demonstrated that they can't be that support for you, you're only going to stress yourself out more by continuing to kind of have this expectation that these people who are not supportive are going to be supportive, because not everybody is your support system at the end of the day. So you have to be discerning who is a safe person to talk about this with, who isn't. And a lot of the times, and this was true for myself, I could not talk to anybody that I knew about what I was dealing with my late narcissistic mother, because nobody understood. And nobody was able to support me in the way that I needed to be supported. I got more support from like free Reddit groups, like the Raised by Narcissists subreddit was pretty much my lifeline in 2015, 16, 17, 18, like it was those people understood. Watching YouTube videos back then as well, that was my support system. Even though it wasn't the ideal support system, the other options were not feasible in any way, shape, or form, because I was just going to stress myself out talking about my mother and people telling me, oh, but that's your mother. Things are going to get better. You need to understand her, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, that's not helpful whatsoever. So, if you are dealing with people who are not helpful, you're only going to stress yourself out even more by hoping that they're going to be helpful. And if you try to have a conversation with them and they get it, then that's one thing. But if you keep trying to have this conversation and they keep not getting it, you have to cut your losses and understand that this is just not my support person, and that's fine. This is somebody that, we're friends, or this is a family member, and we don't get into these deep topics or whatever. And it sucks, but again, you can't force somebody to be something that they're not willing to be for you. So it really starts with like you being your own support system, which is hard. It's easier said than done, obviously. And this is what can keep survivors stuck for longer, because we don't know who to talk to. But luckily, with the internet these days, there's a lot of resources out there for narcissistic abuse recovery. Some of it Some of it's questionable if you ask me, but there is some good stuff out there. And, just find that support system that resonates with you. And it might not be the people that you know in real life. And that sucks. And let yourself grieve those expectations. And there's no way to sugarcoat how much it sucks. You just have to accept that this is what it is. But you're going to cause yourself more stress when you don't accept that not everyone can be your support system. And now, for the other topic that I was going to cover as well, for people who are watching this video and you want to learn how you can support a survivor of narcissistic abuse. First of all, you are a wonderful unicorn and, you are so appreciated in the narcissistic abuse recovery community, because it is so hard to come across people who get it. Like it's, and the fact that you want to get it is amazing. So, really the main thing is just listen. Sometimes you don't need to give an opinion. Sometimes it's just about being there to listen, just validating that, like, oh, wow, like what you went through absolutely sucked. How do you feel about it? Like you don't have to you don't have to like know everything about narcissists and healing and all that to be able to be supportive to somebody who's going through it. All you have to do is listen. A lot of the times, just listening is what people need at the end of the day. So if you're willing to do that for a survivor of narcissistic abuse and not judge them and just be that ear and support, amazing. And also, don't overextend yourself as well, right? You have to protect yourself and make sure that, as they say, your cup is filled up before you can fill somebody else's cup. But a lot of the times it's just listening is going to be the best thing, just being supportive, not offering these just empty things of like, oh, thoughts and prayers, or like that things are going to get better in the future, just literally listen. And a lot of the times not offering advice can be the best advice, right? And you could point them into the direction of like resources. Obviously, you found this video. You can point your person that you're trying to support to my content if that helps, or somebody else's content if that resonates better with them. But at the end of the day, you have to understand your own limitations and be aware of what level of support you're willing to give and make sure that that's communicated as well. I hope that helps. Thank you so much to Ashley for submitting this question. Quick recap, manage your expectations on who your support system is. A lot of the times we're going to get disappointed by the people in our lives, and that's fine, right? Like you can't expect everybody to be everything for you. And if you're someone that is looking to support a survivor, listen, validate, don't offer unsolicited advice, and it's point them in the right direction towards decent resources out there. So yeah, I'll wrap this one up here. Once again, if you want to participate in the Ask Adriana series, check the link in the description under this video and you'll be able to submit your question, and keep an eye out and you'll find the video at some point whenever I upload it. See you next time. Bye.